Welcome to the National Women's Fitness Academy podcast. We're here to talk about women's health, female hormones, body image, and all things health and fitness.
Hello, girls, and welcome back to another episode of the Women's Fitness Academy's podcast. I'm your host, Siggy, one of the WFA's educators and a women's online coach. Today, I'm joined by the lovely Jenny Wheeler, who believes that all women are smart women. It's just that they haven't been given the right tools to help them achieve their goals. And today's podcast is going to be a really cool one because Jenny comes with a background of teaching. However, she's also a recipe developer. And we all know how much I love food, and I know how much you guys, well, girls, love food as well. So this is going to be a really cool conversation about how she's been helping women through her recipe books by losing weight, staying fit, and keeping active. Jenny, welcome.
Hello, thank you. Thanks so much for chatting with me today. I'm really excited about this one.
Me too. So let's get straight into it. I want to know what made you become a recipe developer.
Oh, all right, this is a bit of a long story, just bear with me on this. So basically after I had kids, I just felt like, obviously, the usual story, like I put on some weight and I was super busy and I didn't have time to eat well and to exercise. And after a while, I basically just got so tired of my own BS that I went, right, that's it. Like I need to do something. Something's got to change. I had a really bad relationship with food. I was insanely addicted to sugar. Like I couldn't go a meal without something sweet in it. Like I just constantly crave sugar. And obviously when you crave sugar all the time, you get those massive highs and then those big sort of dips in the afternoon. So I had a lot of problems around food and stuff. And yeah, like I said, I was just really sick of my own BS and I just wanted to try something different. So from there, I went and I jumped online and I decided to sign up for an online program called Sweat by, I'm sure you've all heard of Kayla Itsinas. So that's kind of how the ball sort of started. So I jumped onto Instagram and I started sort of, I don't know, because I was playing around with healthy food and healthy recipes and things like that. And so I just started sharing things on Instagram, on social media. And for quite a long time, I had my account set as private. And, I'd sort of connected with a few women on Instagram, that were on that journey as well too, into fitness or into weight loss or trying to improve their diets. And they're all saying to me, Jen, you're mad. Like you need to go public with this stuff and start sharing your food. So I've actually got the confidence to do that. And honestly, it's kind of just snowballed from there. I wasn't someone that set out and went, right, I'm going to do this. This is just how it happened. It really happened organically. And that's how I got into recipe developing and got into sharing it on a larger scale with people.
I love that. Sharing the joy of eating food.
Yes, we all love food.
I love it. I love it so much. Now, with your background, you mentioned that you had a really bad relationship with food. What was that relationship like?
I think now in hindsight, when I look back at it, it's just that I didn't understand food. And like you mentioned in the beginning, that's one thing that I realized, when I went through this journey myself with food and fitness and everything, I realized that I'm actually a smart woman. I can actually do this. It's just that I didn't have the right information and no one had given me the right tools or the right tips that will actually work for me. And so that's kind of how, I got into all of this, so I just realized I'm a smart woman and I can do this. But yeah, I just, like I said, I had massive addictions to sugar. I was hungry a lot of the time, either full of energy from the sugar that I was eating or really tired. Looking back now, I know I had little to no protein in my diet, and as a lot of people will know out there, if you don't eat enough protein in your diet, there are just so many knock-on effects of that. So I just didn't, and then you'd go through that whole cycle of you'd eat something off track and then you'd feel guilty and then you go, oh, I better go on a diet. And then it's just that whole, eat, binge, feel guilty, then you start all over again. And like I said, I was just sick of it. I just could recognize in myself that, this is not right. I'm hungry all the time, I've got sugar cravings, there's got to be a better way to this.
It's so common that you mentioned regarding women not eating enough protein and then having those sugar cravings. I remember years ago, that used to be me as well, going through the highs and lows.
Yes. Yeah.
eating chocolate or eating ice cream and then wondering to yourself, like, why is this happening? Why can't I, change these habits?
I think though too, you just accept it as normal. You just go, well, that's just normal, and it's not. It's not normal to feel like that.
No, not at all. So once you started making your own recipes or changing, your lifestyle around it, what was like the one thing that helped you the most?
Ooh, that's a big question. I think honestly, I would say meal prepping my food.
Yeah.
Like I know that sounds, and this is the thing too, and this is what I found myself is that, a lot of the stuff that I talk about, it's not sexy and it's not exciting, but damn, like meal prepping my food as a busy working mom has changed my life. Like when you meal prep your food, whether that's planning out your food or just prepping your food, it saves you so many times. So for me, it saves me when after work and I'm tired and I can't be bothered cooking anything. There's something in the fridge or I've half prepped the stir fry veggies for the dinner or whatever. I go to work and I'm so busy at school and I don't have time to eat. But hey, I've got my meal prep lunch. I can just whip out the fridge, throw in the microwave, and I can take it out on yard duty with me. So planning and preparation, like I said, it's not sexy, but it's had a massive impact on me being able to not only not only to lose weight, but also to maintain my weight for the long term.
Meal prep is huge. People really undervalue the magic of meal prep, and too often those who don't go down that route make that excuse going they don't have time.
Yeah. And I think as well too, the problem is that sometimes, as I found, is that meal prep sometimes gets a bad rap. So people see, and obviously too on social media, meal prep, you see these videos of people and they've spent hours in the kitchen and they've done like a month's worth of food. And, that's kind of what I realized. Like I had to play around with it a bit to find a day of the week that suited me, a level of prep that suited me. And I think that's the thing where people get stuck is that they forget that meal prep can be whatever the hell you want it to be. It can suit your lifestyle. Some people like to do it on a Monday. Some people like to do it on a Sunday. Some people like to do 3-day prep. Some like to do 5-day prep. Some like to just say prep their vegetables or, parts of their meals. It doesn't have to be whole meals. And that's the thing, like meal prep can literally be whatever you want it to be so it suits you and your lifestyle.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because too often we get sold this idea that meal preps only have to be on Sundays. You have to prep for the whole week. You have to do these extraordinary meals to satisfy your taste buds. And like you said, you just need to keep it super simple. I remember when I first started meal prepping, I think I was only prepping my vegetables. Yes. Yeah, only my vegetables.
Just the veggies? Yep.
Yeah. And then from there, take it on. So, and you know what, as a busy mum as well, I'm sure the meal prep side of things has helped you immensely in terms of saving time.
Oh, it has as well too. And, as a mother too, it probably sounds silly, but it also has helped me with my children because I've got my own meal planners now that I created and just designed, and I use those and I plan out my meals for my family. And the great thing is that I don't have any arguments with my kids about what's for dinner. I'm not going to the shops every day after work to buy ingredients. Like it's really reduced my stress, my overwhelm, and just our stress as a family because dinner's not an issue anymore.
So let's take it to your recipe books. You said that you have certain like meal plans, not meal plans, but like meal directions there for meal prepping. What does that essentially look like for a woman who's not wanting to go to the shops every night? Because I know that that's something that occurs to us all the time.
That's right. So for me, like planning out my meals would look like I said, I've got a healthy eats meal planner and I sit down and I work out, roughly say what I'm going to have for lunches to take to work, what my family will eat for dinner. I fill out the shopping list part and then I will go and do one big shop. And then on a Sunday, I like to set aside a bit of time. That's just because Sunday personally works for me. And I'll do a bit of meal prep. So I'll do some meal prep for myself and then also some for my family. And like Sundays for me, I used to, not like Sundays because it was like Sundays, it's Monday and, but I really love Sundays. Like I've learned to really cherish my Sundays. I try and have a bit of balance of, sleep in and catching up with friends or doing something with family. But then I also make sure that I set aside some time just to organize myself. It's meal prep, it's putting out my gym clothes. And honestly, those things make such a massive difference to your week.
They do indeed. I love Sundays. I don't know. Well, we both love it, but I do have this familiar conversations with a lot of clients that they don't like Sundays because either it triggers them because the week is about to start.
Yes.
Or they're thinking of all the other stuff that they need to do this week.
But that's the thing. I think it's your mindset. It's how you look at it, isn't it? I look at Sunday as like, oh wow, this is this day I can, like spend time with myself, my family. I can get myself organized, and I can go into my week feeling really good. And the knock-on effect of me organizing myself on a Sunday is that I love Mondays. I wake up and I really enjoy Mondays. Because I'm not going into Monday going, oh my God, like there's nothing for the kids for dinner. What am I going to do for this? I haven't like got my lunch for work. Like Mondays are easy because I'm organized.
Mm. And like you said, it's all a mindset thing. Once you start changing one thing, it just becomes better and better.
That's right. And that's a big thing I'm a huge believer in is that habit stacking. And it wasn't until I came out the other side of this journey is that's actually what I realized I was doing, because people always say, well, how did you get to this point? And I'm like, I never used to do any of this stuff. I never used to meal prep. I never used to go to the gym. I never used to meal plan. I never used to do any of it, but I've literally changed one small habit every time and habit stacked each. Once I've mastered meal prepping, then I tried the gym, and then I tried something else, or I hit my water. Like I just habit stacked those things, one thing on top of each other.
I think that's so valuable because many people try and change everything at the beginning and it just gets
That's right.
too overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. I have this sort of saying that I use because I've actually just launched my online course. And that's one thing that I talk about is that, people just need to see the step in front of them, not the whole staircase. And that's the thing, it's just one small step and that will get you to the end of the staircase, but everyone's always thinking the end point, well, I want to lose this much weight, or I want to be this size, I want to be able to do this in the gym. But there's all those little steps you have to do first before you can get to the end of your staircase.
I love that because people too often focus just on the goal and not so much on the journey of
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like I can honestly say, I mean, I lost about 10 kilos, but I have totally transformed my life, my health, like my habits. And honestly, that's been the biggest. It's been that journey that I've got so much from, the end point of, feeling good in your skin and all that. Honestly, that's just a bonus. It's all the other stuff that I've learned along the way that has had the biggest impact for me.
That's amazing. Let's talk about that because I want to know how your journey has impacted your lifestyle, but as well how your, would we say it's a hobby because you're a teacher, but you're also a recipe developer. So we would say this is like a side business or
Yeah, I'd say a bit of a side hustle, a bit of an entrepreneur. Yeah, like I said, it all came about naturally. It's not something that I set out to do, but it has kind of just snowballed from there. So yeah, I'm currently working part-time as a teacher. I've been a teacher for quite a while now, and it's, it's a really privileged job that I get to teach, little kids big things every day. But I also love teaching women. Like I love teaching and helping women too. So, like that side of it has really like brought me a lot of joy as well.
I love that. So run me through your journey of losing 10 kilos while throughout, you've been developing these recipe books, but also changing these habits.
Yeah, I think as well too, with regards to like developing a lot of my products and things, is that's how they came about. Because like I said, I started sharing my recipes and then people would say, oh, Jen, have you got like a meal prep thing? And I'd like, no. And they'd say, okay, Jen, have you got a meal plan? And I'd say, no. And they'd say, well, Jen, have you got like, one of these like meal planning pads we can plan? No. And so, as I started to look into it, and I know the way that I like to do things and plan things it's got to be quick, it's got to be easy, it's got to be simple. And I just found that there was a lot of things out there that it's just not available. So that's sort of when I went about creating my own. So I started working really closely with a nutritionist to obviously take my recipes and put them into a meal plan. So it's got all your calories, your macros, everything's calculated for you. But the biggest thing I found is that when you buy, from my experience too, is when you buy an online program, every single item that's in the meal plan needs a recipe. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have time to breakfast recipe, snack recipe, lunch recipe. Like that's a lot of recipes for one person. So that sort of was the goal behind my meal plans, is to put more, really simple things together, or more sort of like take this, put this together, and there's your meal, rather than here's your complicated recipe that you have to follow for every single thing, because people are busy and women are busy and we just don't have time for that stuff. So my own struggles, that's where a lot of these products have come from.
I love that. That's so cool. And in your journey through you losing 10 kilos, was that mainly with the help of your nutrition habits, or did you change like your life completely?
I would definitely say, like I said, I actually started, like I said, doing that Kayla program, and I followed her workouts. They were at home. I think they're like 28 minutes from memory. And I literally did them at home while my baby slept. Like that's how I worked out. Or I worked out while they, were crawling all over me, or, I just had this shift in mindset. And I was like, I'm going to make this happen. And I actually repeated the workouts and the food quite a few times. Like I probably did that for maybe like 10 months, I think, before I went, you know what, I'm ready for a bit more. And that's when I went about joining the gym and stuff like that. So again, it was sort of starting small and then, continuing on. And then also too, like the thirst for wanting to learn more became, greater. Like I wanted to learn about the gym, whereas before going to the gym would terrify me. And I was like, I'm not a gym girl, that's not for me. And so, yeah, basically, because people always say to me, well, how long did it take you to lose the weight? How long did it take you to transform your body? And I honestly can't tell you, because it kind of just happened bit by bit along the way, and even still now, just from literally showing up for myself, getting to the gym, doing weights, eating well most of the time. Like I can still see changes in my body, and I'm building some more lean muscle. And so I couldn't sort of set a timeline on it, if you know what I mean. It's just something. And I think as well too, the biggest advice I can give to people as well too, the results I wanted came when I stopped focusing on the weight loss and everything, when I just went, you know what, I'm going to meal prep because it makes me feel good. Or I'm going to hit the gym because it helps with my mental health. I feel calmer, I feel stronger. That's why I'm going to the gym. When I sort of stopped that whole, I'm going to the gym to burn calories, or, I'm going to meal prep to lose fat, or when I ditched all of that and just did it because it made me feel good, that's actually when the results started happening. Like I was standing in the mirror one day and I just remember going, oh, damn, like, hey, what's that? Because I'd stopped worrying about it all the time. I'd stopped walking past the mirror all the time and going, don't like that beard. And, yeah. So when you stop focusing on it, it's like, I don't know if it's a test. I don't know if it's a test by the universe or whatever it's like. But, once you stop focusing on that, things start to change.
It's no coincidence, to be honest, because I'm a very big believer when we're trying to force things and push and give and tug, it's just not going to work.
It doesn't happen.
Exactly. You're working against yourself. And like you said, you were so focused on losing a certain amount of kilos or reaching a certain number and hating yourself, looking at the mirror. It's just like that is not going to reach, you're not going to reach your results that you're wanting with these. So then by you just changing your mindset, like we just spoke before, it's just like changes. That's where the magic happens.
That's right. And it just comes naturally. And I think as well too, that then sets you up for the long term, because then you're going to go to the gym, because that's another question I always get asked. People say, well, how have you kept this up? And then why do you keep showing up? And why? Because it makes me feel good. If I was just doing it for, amazing abs or for weight loss or whatever, like you wouldn't keep doing it, but I know when I'm slack with meal prep, or I don't exercise as much, or I don't drink my water, or, all those kind of things, I feel like crap. So for me, that's enough of a motivator to go, hey, Jen, get back to your good habits. It doesn't have to be about weight loss and all these other things. That's the driving force that keeps me going.
I love that you mentioned that. I want to ask you also, has there been a time where, you didn't feel like doing those things, or you slipped up and you found yourself going back to your old habits?
Yeah, over and over again, and you do, like I was talking to my girls in the online course, and that's what they were saying as well too, is that, we're wired, like, we've done these crappy patterns for quite some time. Like it's going to take a while to break them, and that's when you have to have that little voice inside your head that says, you know what, Jen, you don't need to start a new diet on Monday. You need to plan your meals. You need to prep your food. You need to schedule in your workouts. That's the stuff that works. It's not these quick fix things. And I think that's the thing, is that, you tend to lapse back into those patterns, when you've had an off day with food, you go, oh, we'll stuff it. I'll just, I'll wait till New Year to start looking after my health again, or to, you just don't need to. My thing is, I always tell people is that, if you've had a bad choice, or not a bad choice, but not necessarily the greatest food choice, just start at your next meal. Don't wait till tomorrow or Monday, just go, well, I just ate my weight in food at the buffet tonight. Get up in the morning, go for a walk, and make yourself a healthy breakfast. Like that's the problem, is that we keep, we make a mistake and then we go, oh, I'm going to put it off, and I'll keep putting it off, and just start the next meal, literally the next meal. And it's that momentum of eating healthy and exercising again that will bring back that consistency.
I also think it also comes down to that perfectionism mindset. If it's not well planned or not well, it's like that's it. I've given up.
I can hands down, hand on heart tell you that I did not get to where I am by being perfect. There is just no way, and even now I'm not perfect. I believe in sort of like an 80-20, yes, I show up for the gym, but I also eat chocolate and I have dessert every night. And, that's a big thing in my meal plans. There's snacks and there's dessert every night. Girls are like, so I can eat this. Yes, like it's okay, like you can include that as part of a healthy diet, And I think that's the thing. I was that, one or the other. It was either really, really restrictive and not eating the things I enjoyed or, the other spectrum. So yeah, it's just
I love everything about that. You mentioned a couple of times that you started your own program from home and then eventually you led to the gym. What was the anxiety like going into the gym?
Oh my God, I had no clue. I remember the first thing I did was I did a class and I sort of snuck in when they started and just hid at the back of the room and kind of followed everyone else. So I started classes first and I probably did those for a while before I actually got confident enough to go out into the weights room, And it's so funny because honestly, like I'm one of those people now, I don't know, I think I must have like a resting bitch face at the gym because I'm just there for me. Like I literally don't care. If I'm looking silly or I've stuffed up something or like I stood up and I hit my head on, the lat pull down bars, or I don't care. Like I'm there for me, because that's what people say. They say, oh, but Jen, I feel like everyone's staring at me and I'm doing it wrong. And once you just show up for yourself, you really don't care. And people aren't looking at you. They're really not looking at you. You're just there for yourself. You go in, you get what you need to do done and you just get out.
I love that you mentioned that because it's been a couple of weeks since I've been back to the gym and I went there this morning and oh my God, what was I doing? Oh, I was shoulder pressing and I had two dumbbells, but one of them was heavier than the other.
Oh, yes.
Realizing, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so much weaker. Like, what's happening?
What's wrong with me?
Exactly. And you realize, like, oh God, like you have two different weights. But I love the fact that you mentioned that you're open enough to express that you do have that anxiety as well. It comes and goes. And like you said, no one's really looking at you.
No,
They're all
no.
solely focused on them.
Yeah, they are. People that go to the gym are there just to work out for themselves. They're not worrying about what you're doing or, and I've always made a really good point, like it's not a good point, a big point. If someone I can see at my gym and you can tell, especially a female, that they're trying to like work something out, I'll just go over and I'll say, hey, do you need some help or something? Because, like that's what we should be doing as women is supporting other women, not going, well, she doesn't know what she's doing and she hasn't been to the gym before. We need to see other women and go, hey, do you need some help? Or this is how you move the, the clips on the machine or whatever she needs to do,
I respect that so much. And the part of, people thinking that they're looking at you, I think it also comes down to as humans because we're always wanting to be part of a community or belong to something or to someone. So when you like as if you're, being judged by others, it's timing.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I wasn't this person that, like walked into the gym door, full of confidence and I knew what I did. I didn't at all. Like I said, I started out at classes and then I fumbled my way through like using a few machines and, but it's like anything. You have to start somewhere at some point, with anything, like literally anything that you have done in your life, you were a beginner once. And it's the same with the gym class or the yoga class or meal planning or prepping, we all start out as beginners, like, you got to start there to get to that end point.
Yeah, I love that. With meal prepping, I know we've spoken a fair bit of it, but I'm quite interested to know what does that look like for you at the moment?
At the moment, pretty similar, to be honest. Like I still sort of have a pretty similar system, even, doing part-time teaching and part-time working on the business and stuff. I still like to have meal prep at home because, like I said, I'm busy doing stuff with business, like chatting on podcasts and doing other things. And then, I get busy too, working from home as well too. So having something in the fridge that I can just grab and go. So yes, I'd say my meal planning and my prep still looks pretty similar.
Okay, good. I love that. Having that balance between the two.
Yeah, that's right. And honestly, it's just having stuff prepared, because life happens and we all get busy. And that for me is the biggest thing. Meal prep just saves me every single time.
Are you finding that meal prepping for the whole week at the moment, or are you just going, day by day?
I personally like to do, say, a 3-day meal prep. I've had a play around with sort of different amounts and all that kind of thing. And me personally, I find 3 days is a good amount. One, I don't get bored of my food. And then after 3 days, I'm kind of happy to just be a bit more flexible and a bit more go with the flow, that kind of thing. It lasts best in the fridge. Like for me personally, I've just found a 3-day meal prep is just a good amount of prep. It's sort of a good chunk of the week.
Yeah, I love that. I used to prep 7 days for the whole week, and I usually would freeze the meats because it's a bit,
Yes.
for having meat more than
Yes.
else.
Certainly no salmonella.
No, definitely not. I learned it the hard way, unfortunately.
Oh no.
Yeah, but some people don't know that, unfortunately. Some people
Yeah.
think, oh yeah, meat can last for a while.
Yeah, it's fine to eat.
Yeah, girls learn 3 or 4 days max, and that's
Yeah,
it.
3 or 4, and that's it. If not, put it in the freezer.
Yeah. I found, and I love the fact that you mentioned how after 3 days you'll change it up because you find yourself getting a little bit bored. I can relate to that because on those weeks where I would meal prep for the whole week, I would come back to my freezer and be like, oh, I don't want mincemeat again.
Yeah, I don't want that. That's right. And that's the thing, like for me, those 3 days, I really enjoy my food. And that's another thing too, you talk about meal prep and stuff. I get excited about my lunch. Like I'm off to work and I'm like, ooh, I've got my, 1-pan lasagna waiting in the fridge to microwave, right? And to me, that's half the problem is, your food should excite you.
Yes.
And I went down the whole thing of, when I wanted to lose weight, food had to be really boring and I had to eat chicken and rice and broccoli. And it's so not true. Like I literally eat everything. I obviously just put it together in a way that's got my protein, my fats, my carbs, so it's healthy, it's well balanced, and I literally can eat whatever I want.
Yeah, I envy all the foods that you make because for those who are not following Jen yet, her Instagram page is The Active Bod. You have to check out her meal prep videos. Some of the meals that you make, I'm like, how does she do it all? It's amazing. And you know what? They're such simple recipes as well. When usually you would look at someone who's making, let's say, like protein balls, they think, oh my God, I'm going to be in the kitchen for like a good hour. No, it's like bang it out really quickly.
I think as well too, something I always tell people as well too is, what you see on my social media, that is what I'm eating. I'm not one of these people that, because I have found that as well too through social media. There's a lot of people post things, like I made this cheesecake and I had this and this and this. They're not eating that stuff. They're just not. But, what I post on my pages, that's literally what I'm having for lunch to take to work. Or, that's literally my dessert for the next 3 nights or whatever. So, there's no BS. What you see is what you get. And, that's what I'm eating. And that's what I'm eating to, maintain my weight loss as well.
It's being real and authentic about it too.
Yeah, that's right. And I think as well too, that's sort of how the Real Nourish meal prep mixes came about. Because I wanted to, one of the things I found is that I would go to the shops and I wanted like a quick, there was, because, you were asking me about other times when you didn't want to do things, there is some Sundays I was like, ugh, I just can't be bothered meal prepping. I'm tired. We've been out the night before. I'd had a busy weekend with kids, whatever. And I'd go to the shops and I couldn't find, I don't know, like I think more like a female style meal prep. Like, you can buy like food, like actually pre-cooked food. But I couldn't actually find like a dry mix where I could literally just make it up in my kitchen so it was still freshly made. And yeah, that's how I came up with like putting together my own do-it-yourself meal prep mixes.
I love that. That's so handy. Yeah, because you don't see many good ones in the supermarkets.
No, there's, muffin mixes and cake mixes. And like I said, pre-made food, or the other alternative is, your meal kits that you can buy in the box, which they're really great too. But yeah, like I wanted something that I could, just a bag I could whip out of my kitchen, throw something in a bowl, cook it up, and then I've got, my 3 days worth of breakfast ready for me. So that's how it sort of came about.
I love that. What's been your favorite recipe so far?
Oh, that's just mean. I don't know. Do you know what though? Like people, because I, push out recipes and I create them every week and stuff, it'll be that like someone that, like one of my girls in the community will send me a picture of something like, I made this, I forget. Because I'm constantly on that creating new things. I'll forget them. Yeah, I really got to make that. So I don't know. Yeah, I honestly couldn't pick a fave. Like I just, yeah, definitely have a lot of favorites. At the moment, I'm a little bit obsessed with my one pan Busy Gal lasagna, which is like literally lasagna that you cook in a pan, like all pan, that's it, you know. But yeah, like you said, I'm all about simple, time saving, quick, because you know you want to spend less time cooking. You want to spend more time living your life or spending time with your friends or your family, or you know that's what it should be about.
How often, well, how much time are you spending in the kitchen right now to make your meals?
Like if I was doing, say, my meal prep on a Sunday, it would maybe be like an hour.
Yeah,
You know,
wow.
obviously to film a recipe, that's a different thing because I've got to, you know, film it and edit it, and put it together and all that kind of stuff. That's a totally different process. But my actual meal prep and planning would be like an hour, you know, so it's
That's
not a lot of time. But
well,
that's the problem is people need to see health and fitness as an everyday part of life, you
yeah.
know, but I think as well too, especially as women that, you know, like I know, I mean, you may agree as well too that, you know, a lot of us have been raised in a generation that, you know, you eat well and you exercise to get skinny and lose weight.
Mm.
You know, you don't go to the gym, you know, to feel amazing and full of energy and so you can be a better wife and a better mother and a better friend and a, you know, that's, you know, they don't, no one talks about that stuff, you know, and to me, health and fitness should just be an everyday part of your life, you know, not something that, oh, I have to do this thing on top of, you know, my work and on top of my life and everything else. It can just be something that you integrate into your everyday.
I love that. And again, it comes back to changing the mindset and that old school mentality because too often we've been, as you said, like brainwashed that the nutrition and the side of the exercise has to be about us losing weight, but it's so much more than that.
Oh, it is. And, you know, I mean, I'm guilty. You know, I was that girl too. I was like, well, I'm going to the gym to lose weight or to get skinny or to build some muscle or whatever, you know, but it's honestly the benefits that you get from it and like, you know, just the developing and the self-confidence and stuff that you get across, you know, throughout the journey. You use so much more. Like it's just, like I said, the weight loss and the looking good in a dress is honestly just like a little bit of that icing on the cake. It's the other stuff that has just been life-changing for me.
Yeah, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that. You mentioned a couple of times before about this online course that you've developed. What's that about?
So I just launched. My girls are about halfway through, so they're at module 4. So again, another thing, like I've spoken to thousands of women, like thousands and thousands of women, and the same stuff kept coming up. And to be honest with you, I sat on this online course for ages. You know, I went, oh no, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do it. And it just became, it was just like this screaming voice in my head going, Jen, if you don't put this course together, you're doing a disservice to the female population. You know, like you need to put this together. And so basically, I put together a 6-week online course. It's called the Healthy Eating Formula for Smart Women. Honestly, the funny thing is I literally did not have to think for a single second about what I was going to call this. I was like, that's it. Healthy Eating Formula for Smart Women, because that's what I believe. You know, like I said in the beginning, I believe that all women are smart women. It's just that we, you know, all these, there's so much stuff out there. There's so many online courses and programs and all that stuff. And there's real basic stuff that no one tells you. Like no one tells you that, you know, if you eat more protein, your sugar cravings are going to get under control. Like, you know, the real basic, simple stuff that us women need to hear, you know. And so that's why I put the course together. So for me, this course is telling women about all the things that I wish someone had told me. And like I said, the stuff that actually matters and the stuff that actually works. So that's kind of how it came about.
I love that. And module, you said they're up to module 4 so far?
Module 4, yeah. So they're about halfway through, yeah. And like honestly, just all of the, you know, just the because this is a private Facebook group as part of the course, and just the aha moments that these women are having. Like honestly, it just lights up my soul because it just reminds me that I did the right thing putting this course together and it's helping other women because honestly, that's what gives me the biggest buzz. You know, when someone says, oh my God, Jen, well, because of you, you know, I didn't binge on food or, you know, I meal prepped myself a healthy lunch or Jen, now I actually understand why I'm eating that way. I have a saying and everyone that knows me, I just say it all the time, is that I believe that there's a reason behind every food choice that you make. And once you work out the reason of why you're making, you know, am I tired? Is it because I didn't eat a good breakfast? Is it because I skipped my snack? Is it because I didn't eat enough food today? Like there's a reason behind every food choice you make. And once you make that connection to that, then you can put like a solution in place to solve the problem. Like it's actually quite simple.
I love that. It's building that self-awareness around your choices as well.
It is, and I think that's a lot of the problem, especially as women, is that we are so busy and we are so time poor, and our body gives us these cues and these signals and these hints all the time.
Yes.
You need to move your body, you need to increase your vegetables, you need to, plan out your meals, you need to get organized, and we just go la 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 la. I'm not listening, and then unfortunately, those little whispers eventually become screams, and the screams look like, weight gain and sluggishness and like breakouts and all these things. So it's tuning in, like you said, becoming aware of what you're doing, becoming aware of your habits, and then they don't turn into screams. You can get on top of them before they turn into that unwanted weight loss or whatever you don't want.
So powerful. I love that you mentioned that because too often, especially in the society that we live in, us females are trying to mimic males' attributes, and it just doesn't work that way. We're women for a reason, so we have to slow down. We have to feel into our intuition. So I love that you mentioned that.
And I think the problem is, like I said, we're just so busy. I think that the expectations on women these days, they're very different to what they were, 50 years ago. The men went out to work and the women stayed home. Whereas, now it's different. A lot of women are working and we're expected to work and run our families and eat well, look after ourselves. And, we all just get busy. And unfortunately, that's what happens then, is that you sort of lose that inner awareness of yourself, of how you feel. How do you feel today? Like I do like a self-care Sunday, and it's that whole thing. I just encourage you, how do you feel? Like, how are you feeling? What do you need today? Do you need to sleep in? Do you need to get off your bum and move your body? Do you need to make a healthy lunch? Like, it's just checking in with yourself. And I think that's the problem, is we just as women don't do it enough.
No, we don't, and we put other people's needs before.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We get pushed down to the bottom of our to-do list. And it's kind of that stigma around, as women, that it's selfish, isn't it? It really saddens me to say that unfortunately I still talk to women all the time that will say, my partner makes me feel guilty for going to the gym.
Wow.
Or my kids make me feel bad, and I'm like, no, you need to put a stop to that right now. It's okay, and it's not selfish for you to go and do something for yourself.
That's so tough. That would be really hard to deal with.
It is. And I'd like to say, I'm super lucky. My husband is amazing and he's so supportive, and, he's never, even after when I first started, he's never said, what are you doing that for? Or what are you, why are you working at home? What do you, he'd be like, right, what do you need from Kmart? Do you want me to get you some dumbbells, or let's get you a yoga mat, or whatever you want? But, it's a sad reality that that's not the case for a lot of other women, so trying to, work on their self-awareness when they've got people around them, it could be family members, it could be a partner that's saying, you know what, it's not okay for you to put yourself first. So yeah, it's changing that sort of stigma of it. It's not selfish, it's not selfish to take a little bit of time out of your day to do something for yourself.
100%. And I think it's very important because it's too often, if you're taking care of so many people and not yourself, you end up, as you mentioned, your body's going to give you a signal, and whether it's going to be weight loss, whether it's going to be sickness, whether it's going to be PMS symptoms.
Yes. Yep.
All these things, it's your body, as you said, like earlier, it's screaming for help.
It is. And our bodies give us little signals all the time. And even for myself, I like to think I'm, relatively active and healthy and stuff now. But, when I fall off and slip off with those habits, my body tells me, my body says, hey, Jen, you've been like eating a bit YOLO, the last few days, and you're feeling a bit sluggish, and, so it happens to all of us, but it's, what you do with that information is what's important and what counts.
100%. I love that. Loved everything about that. What is one tip you can give our listeners in regards to, self-care, or even like not having that guilt around Sundays?
I like to do a couple of things. One thing I've incorporated is like I've caught on Wednesdays, I do a midweek check-in. So like I kind of, because what was happening to me is, say, on Sunday I do my meal prep, I plan my meals, I put out my gym clothes, I get myself organized, and come sort of Wednesday, by the middle of the week, I was starting to feel like, things are sort of turning to crap a bit, like my house is a mess. I hadn't done the washing. There's no healthy food in the pantry. So I sort of went, you know what? I don't want to feel, and then sort of say the weekend will come around, and I just felt like a disheveled mess again. So I sort of implemented this thing just on Wednesdays to just sort of sort myself out. I've got a bit of a checklist, like I'll top up my groceries, I'll just do a bit of a quick tidy up around the house, get out my gym clothes, just to make myself feel on top of things again, just to get me through the weekend. And honestly, it's just made a massive difference because I'm not, Black Friday comes and I'm not like, crawling to the finish line. That bit of a sort myself out on a Wednesday, tidy up and stuff. And because when you've got a clear mind and organized, organized house, all that kind of stuff, you can make decisions better. You're less stressed, you're less anxious, so for me, it's kind of become Sunday, get myself organized, and now doing like a little bit of a midweek reset on a Wednesday too.
I love that midweek check-in. I think that's so important because too often we leave everything to the end of the week.
That's right.
But if you're not checking in with yourself at the middle of the week or wherever, like a Tuesday or a Thursday, but at the end of the week, you're absolutely drained. So no wonder people fall into those bad habits.
Right. And I'll make an effort too to, like Wednesday is a rest day. I don't go to the gym. Might go for a walk if I've got time. And I always make an effort too on a Wednesday, like do something like have a full girly shower, or I wash my hair and I moisturize, or I might, paint my toes or put a face mask on. And, those things might sound silly, but they do make a real difference to how you feel and how you show up for yourself for the rest of the week.
Yeah, 100%. I love doing all of that stuff.
They do. You just feel like a new person.
Yeah, seriously. And like you said, it could be as minimal as possible, but if it makes you feel good, why not do more of it?
I think I used to always think, I'm sure there's people out there that agree that I used to think that self-care was, just facials and massages and things like that. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have time for that stuff. Like if I have a massage or a facial, it's because someone bought me a voucher for my birthday or I got something for Christmas. So we're talking like, maybe every 6 to 12 months. And then I realized that I can't wait for that to look after myself. So, I look for those little moments of self-care, whether it's just having a cup of coffee and my phone's not there, so I'm just literally sitting there and enjoying my cup of coffee without any distractions, or like you say, putting on a face mask or going to bed early. Like that's self-care.
Yes.
Saying, what, I'm tired and I can't think, I'm going to bed early tonight. That's all self-care. It doesn't have to be, the voucher that you get for your birthday or for Christmas. You can have little moments of self-care all throughout your day.
I agree completely. Yeah, those days are long gone. It's not just about massages and facials. It should be anything and everything you want it to be.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. We shouldn't wait for a special occasion to, look after ourselves or do something nice for ourselves. It can be something.
It could even mean making yourself some food.
That's right. Meal prepping, that's all form of self-care. It's all taking care of yourself. And something I've realized, I don't know whether it's a mum thing or a girl thing or something, but I realized that when I take care of myself, I can take care of others better. Like I just show up as a better person. I think I'm a better mum, a better friend, I'm better at my job, so when you take care of yourself, you can show up better for others.
Yes, 100%. Oh, I love that point. It's so, so important. On that point, thank you so much for joining me, Jen.
You are so welcome. I've loved chatting with you.
Same. It's been such a good podcast. To be honest, like I was not expecting to have this conversation where we jump from like meal prep to food to motherhood to teaching. I think a lot of our listeners are going to be taking a lot of notes from today, especially around the self-care side of things. I think this has been a big eye-opener for a lot of our listeners, making them realize, hey, it's not just about you having a massage, you're actually doing the stuff that you enjoy doing.
Yeah, that's right. And I hope as well too, people just can take away that, like if I can do this and I can, start with nothing, like literally nothing, like stay-at-home mum, and I started working out at home, and that's how it all snowballed from there, that like anyone can do it. Anyone can, literally you're one choice away from a completely different life. Like you just have to decide that you're worth it, and that, you start putting those little habits in place and start taking those little steps forward so you can get to the end of the staircase.
Yeah, it's all about those little steps, definitely. Well, before we head off, where can our listeners find you and how can they work with you?
My main social account is Instagram at The Active Bod. I've also got my do-it-yourself meal prep mixes. So we've currently got 2 and I'm working on a few others. So we do a pancake tray bake, which is basically like pancakes where you don't have to flip anything. You can just, throw it in a bowl mixer and bake it. And we've also got our super popular blueberry and lemon curd breakfast bake. That one's been a sellout, been really, really popular. Also, too, I'll be opening up my round 2 for my healthy eating formula for Smart Women course. Then I've got my meal plans, my meal planning pads, lots and lots of tools, just to make things easier for you, to take away the confusion and to just make healthy eating easier.
Well, there you go, girls. Get onto the Active Bod, get all the recipes. I know I'm going to be leeching onto these pancakes. I'm actually hearing all about it. And you said blueberries, and I love blueberry pancakes. So
the pancake mix has been really popular because basically all you have to do is add a cup of water and a cup of your favorite mix in. So some people might add blueberries, some are adding chocolate chips, some are adding strawberries and blueberries. So it's high in protein. It literally ticks all of your boxes. So yeah, it's been really popular. And like I said, I just love it. When someone sends me a picture and they've got their Real Nourish mix and they've got 3 days worth of healthy breakfast ready to go.
Bang, love that. Well, girls, if you enjoyed today's podcast, please make sure that you screenshot it, tag us at the Women's Fitness Academy, tag myself, tag Jen, and then till next time, start taking care of yourself, girls, because it is not selfish at all.